Sorry about that, everybody. Had a call I had to take. All right, still doing the 55 pounds. Yeah, the supposed to be getting a new mattress, and they were just calling me to tell me what the deal was. All right, I'm gonna be going down to 50 pounds. I'm excited about this mattress. It's gonna be nice to have a new one. And we learned the last time we had to buy a mattress, we waited way too long, and my back was killing me every morning. And we finally got a new one, but this time it just started to not go great, and we bought one rather than waiting through horrible nights and horrible mornings. It's nice to be proactive on mattress buying. Too many accidents in the old mattress, huh? Yeah. I was so annoyed. A couple months ago, we were potty training one of my kids, and my wife didn't realize that they didn't have a diaper on, and they just soaked everything. But that's not why we're getting the mattress. But that was really annoying. Did not like that. Fortunately, it was closer to her side of the bed than my side of the bed. But I hate I don't like when the kids eat in the bed or have water in the bed. There's nothing I hate worse than crumbs in the bed. And I don't care if my wife has a snack on her side of the bed, because the crumbs will stay over there if there's any crumbs. And it's not like my wife has crumbs in the bed, but the kids will. And if I get in the bed and there's crumbs, I'm just oh, this is so annoying. I hate it. I hate it so much. And I don't have a problem if I eat in the bed, but if I eat in the bed, I have a plate. I'm very meticulous. I don't drop anything, but not kids. I steam cleaned my couches last week, and man, you almost had to leave the room to not lose my mind when my kids spilled something on it. And it was you just don't say anything. I couldn't say anything. Take some deep breaths and mentally and calm down and contain it. And it's containing reminds me of the Invisible Girl when she's smashing something with her invisible bottle, or has contained something in her invisible field. There was one where she contained some wind monster and she just crush it down. And that's what feels like that rage. You have to take it and you have to crush it down. You can't say anything. You just have to hold it, smash it, and then breathe and calm down and be please do not eat on the couch. Don't Do not. Is very frustrating. The joys of parenthood. My one kid, potty training is so much harder because when we like stopped for a minute because it was taking so much time because they weren't really getting it. But I would put them on timeout in their room, and if I put them on timeout and they weren't wearing a diaper, they would just pee everywhere, just out of spite. And that was incredibly frustrating. I mean, it's a clever move. Like, touche. Good job, kid. Way to game the system, per se. But man, but pee is still better than poop. Thankfully, they never made a mess with that. The worst poo mess we ever had was we had just eaten like spaghetti, and my kid was covered in sauce, and so I was just cleaning him off at the sink, holding him, and all of a sudden I felt something drop on my foot, and I was like, "What is that?" And they had just gone to the bathroom, just pooped right there in the kitchen, right on my foot. And I was like, "Oh man!" So then I grabbed the trash can real fast and held them over the trash can, um, and they went more, and they went a lot. And I was like, "Okay, cool, they're done." I'll go take them to the bathtub, clean them up, and I'm like carrying them through the house, and all of a sudden they just keep going and going, and it is just a mess everywhere. And it was like, oh, it was so bad. That was the worst it ever was. Tidy White says, "Yeah, I'm never having kids." LOL. Yeah, I think I would definitely recommend not having kids until you really want them, like to where you're like, okay, like I've done all the things I want to do for the next 18 years, and I'm ready to do this thing. I think like because I wanted kids, it makes it easier, you know, that you're like, yeah, I wanted this. Like this is something I really wanted. And so that, but if I didn't want it and I was like 19 years old and or younger or early 20s and had just done it out of obligation, I would be so much more irritated. That's my best advice. Don't do it till you're ready. says, yeah, I don't want kids anyway, but everything you're telling me is just making me feel confident in that. Well, good, man. I'm glad I'm helping you feel secure in your decisions. Last Sunday night was the first night in years and years that I got a full 8 hours of sleep with no interruptions. It hasn't happened in years. I think my body didn't even know what to do with itself. But nobody woke me up. And that was amazing. I felt so good and refreshed when I woke up. Because for the last, few years, I wake up at least 2 times a night. Sometimes it's just once, but usually someone gets me up. And usually once someone gets me up, I either end up in their bed or they end up in my bed. And, then I'm dealing with a rolling child next to me. So my sleep has not been great for years. The biggest tell I feel is if you look at that video I posted, if you look at my hair, I've gone from having one or two or sprinkled grays to having so much more grays due to just being a dad. And it could just be timing. It could just be getting old. But I feel those two are connected. I go from having very few grays to just boom, gray everywhere. The joys of parenthood. All right. The other thing you miss is being able to go to the bathroom uninterrupted. That goes away too. Can't go to the bathroom without something happening. Someone's gonna pick on somebody. Somebody's gonna want something random. They'll be knocking on the doors. And when they're little, you don't lock the bathroom door in case there's a problem and they need to get in there. So they just open the door and it's a lot of fun. See how many more ways that can increase your confidence in not wanting to have kids. I think one thing they don't talk about, or a lot of people don't talk about, is when you have kids, you get this continual sense of concern and uneasiness about their safety. And it never goes away. You constantly are worried that they're safe and that everything's fine. and like you get super paranoid. Like if they're quiet, you get paranoid. If they're loud, you're paranoid, and it just never goes away. You're never like, oh, everything's fine. That's a fun part of parenthood. When you first like bring them home, like it's so hard to relax, especially at night. Like you roll over throughout the night just to check on their breathing. And then you're counting their breaths to make sure they're not breathing too fast or not breathing too slow. And then because you're tired, you're like rolling over on your phone to re-Google like what's the right amount of breaths per minute for a child. Just crazy stuff. I was so happy to be living in a day though where like internet searching is an option versus like having to call a midwife from the next county or something. All right, gonna hit the 40s. Well, the nice part too is you have plenty of time to change your mind. There's less pressure now. Everybody has wire time or a longer time range. Whether you're a man or a woman, today you can freeze your eggs, get hormones added to help you if you decide later on. So many options for waiting. White Titus says, I sure hope I don't change it. Well, we waited a long time. My wife and I were together for 9 years before we had kids. That was good though. We had lots of fun. We had lots of time to do whatever we wanted. So it makes it easier now. Man, I was really hoping that today my my knee would be much happier with me, and I'd be able to do more. But seems like it's still not where I want it to be. And my brother has 5 kids, and like he's a year younger than me. His wife just had their 5th kid, and she's 43. And there's an 8-year difference between the last and second to last. So they're like starting over. And I thought he was done. He thought he was done, but they decided, yeah, let's throw in one more at the end. But it's nice for him because he started having kids, I think at 22 or 23. So he was pretty young when he started. And I was older when I started. And he said, when I was talking about, raising my kids, he was like, man, I really feel like I I wasn't paying attention as much at the with the first ones. Like time just seemed to go by really fast, and I didn't realize how fast time was gonna go. So I think that's the nice part about him having this last one is he's getting to he knows like to mentally take more notes of the time or ideas and pay attention more. So I'm excited for him for that. And it's a really cute baby. She's the only baby in the family, but she's the baby in the family that looks the most like my grandma, which I'm really excited about because that means that when she's like in her 40s, she's gonna look, very similar to how my grandma looked when I was a kid. And it's gonna be fun, I think, to look at her and be like, oh, like see my grandma again. Because when she's in her 40s, the likelihood that my grandma's gonna be around is very low. So it'll be this like special treat where I'll get to see my grandma again. I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. This has to be my last set. It's like perfect timing. My kids are waking up to save me from more pain. All right. Well, thank you very much for hanging out, White Tidy. Hope you have a good rest of your day. And they're moving. I gotta go be dad. All right, man. God bless you guys. Thank you.